Thank you, and thank you. And definitely we hope for a greater 2026 with you as well. And I will promise to make it better, to make it greater. And definitely you always be proud of the sound of Lagos. A beautiful morning to you once again. It is still the Morning Express right here on Mela 98.3 FM. And it's actually all encompassing. This is where we make sure that your morning is very, very interesting one while you even go ahead with your other activities. We'll keep you abreast, we'll keep you updated, we'll bring to your listening pleasure great contents, right? And so it is trends in the papers on Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. This is where we peruse the pages of our dailies and we see through what's going on, what they have in store for us, and to also give analysis to these much issues with the help of her in-house analyst side forward. We give you perspective to these issues, right? And you can join us live on Facebook and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. That's the handle to enjoy an audio-visual experience this morning. And you can also participate. Join in the conversation. You can drop your comment at the comment section on Facebook and on YouTube. You can also listen via Radio Garden. You can definitely download the Radio Garden app either on Play Store or Apple Store, depending on the...
Yeah, Lady Mo, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Merry Christmas in advance.
Thank you. Merry Christmas in advance.
Just a day to Christmas. Like say just to mention that. So if we bring food on Christmas Day. Anyway.
Yeah. There'll be a lot to eat. Don't worry.
Shekere for that. All right, good morning. Hope you had a restful night.
Yeah, it was a restful night.
I left home this morning and the weather was funny. I don't know. I
think the Harmattan period is here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to used to be. So I think gradually the Harmattan, as you take care of your personal health, you gain a lot of sneezing, coughing. It comes with a lot of water. And keep yourself safe out there. There's a lot of dust around.
Make sure that you keep yourself warm, whatever the weather. We can definitely make sure we keep ourselves safe from it. Thank you. Welcome aboard to Trend to the Paper side forward.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, kickstarting. We'll be going through and reviewing the major newspapers we review almost every time: the Punch, the Guardian, the Vanguard newspaper. And let's kickstart with the Punch newspaper. Let's start from states and local government, their allocation for the month, for each month. But still then, even after over a year of the Supreme Court judgment reiterating the autonomy of the local government, right? We're still seeing that the local governments they're still struggling with getting the allocation directly from the Federation account. And so this morning, the Association of the Local Government, the President's plan to enforce direct deductions of council funds from the Federation Account Allocation Committee, even as the state government, because at the last meeting, at the last APC conference in Abuja, of course, the president, we even mentioned it right here, the president ordering or warning the Federation account. And so now, we've not gotten really an effective move from the governors. And the recent allocation they got, the local government are still not directly getting their share. Governors are not willing to do that. Norgay, Akon are also Algon, rather, beg your pardon, and Norgay had also backed Tinubu. Most of their chairmen actually, they were supporting their governor, saying that they have the goodwill, they have political will, they are ready to support the president to make sure that he gets the electing these local governments. That aside from the fact that we have a directive to make sure that they get the allocation, what about the update? Right, the president is saying, don't wait for me to give an executive order and mandate me to make sure that the local governments get their direct. Do you think this is also good enough? Beyond the talk. Do you see this as beyond the talk with the action to make sure that the local governments are effective enough?
Well, Lady Mo, if you listen to us carefully on Sunday, and I want to buy into the argument of Barrister Curtis' analysis on this particular issue at that caucus meeting of the APC, where he had told them that that, look, I'm only respecting you guys. With the Supreme Court judgment, and I have the knife and the yam. But I've still seen a pattern where, so I would expect that you should trust them enough to be able to allow them have complete access to their money. But if you don't do that, I can issue an executive order that will now make me do the needful. Because what he said was that, look, the president was just being very political. That, look, the Supreme Court judgment was clear enough as to what should happen to local government funds. It was not a judgment that allowed for any discretional thing. It was not supposed to be discretionary. That was what the judgment had said. Now, again, this is close to a year and a half.
Yes.
What has been the situation? What efforts have been made and has been reportedly taken by the federal government to ensure between the CBN and the local government, they were trying to open an account. That was the story for months. That that they were trying to do some, findings on which account to open, blah, blah, blah. There was a lot of back and forth. But from what the president has said, we can now conclude that it was not even a matter of opening account or no opening account. The reality is that the governors will be truthful enough, will be disciplined enough to allow the local government to have access to their money.
What is the specific duty? Because
again, we've talked about the fact that, look, there are constitutional issues here. The constitution in itself recognizes a joint account. It was as if the Supreme Court was also overruling its earlier judgment on the same matter under President Muhammadu Buhari, who had also issued an executive order to do the same thing. And you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So how the Supreme Court now got to the point where the interpretation of the law now meant that the money can be transferred to the local government is what a lot of us are still asking ourselves. You understand? But again, to the governor. Because there's nothing discretionary about it. The ruling is clear. And so what we are saying is that, look, if a Supreme Court judgment cannot make the president understand what I'm saying, this was the same executive order that Buhari issued and governor for that. If he really wants to do it, if he has the political will to do it, you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because on the Supreme Court judgment, we've seen the president implement some aspects of that judgment. And people are saying that, look, when it comes to the political interest of the president, he's able to quickly appeal to the government. And that's why there are people who think that, look, it's all political. There are people who think that, look, the president was just going to the gallery. He's going to be re-elected. And he doesn't really want to announce. Even in his statement, he said it. I'm just respecting you. No. And luckily, the president has also said he has the knife and the yam. The only problem, because I don't think anybody will want to eat the yam raw. So maybe the stove and the pot. So we should be methodical in the things we do so that we don't run into these kinds of problems. We have said it over and over again, Lady Mo. And I again want to buy. Remember at that time what he said is that, look, you can't be jumping the gun. You can't put the cart before the horse. You'll be wasting your time. That, look, if you guarantee financial autonomy for locals, you are wasting your time. He said it. I can never forget. He said, look, I'm not interested until we address. You can see that the president is even saying you choose them, you elect them, you know them. So what is the difference? But you know, Lady Mo, that if we have a well-robust, well-transparent electoral process, there are local government chairmen that will emerge from that transparent process. What we have is a selection process disguised as an election process at the local government level. And we all know it.
Well, you are loyal to your
Governors
boss.
governors come out to celebrate what is a sham, what is clearly an electoral scam in the name of conduct, selected in a disguised electoral process, a very fraudulent, flawed electoral process. So until we do the right thing, we're not going to solve this problem. Look, it is so bad that how did they imagine the first? How did they emerge to become chairman? It's not working. I may never work. We probably have to go back to the era where the INEC used to conduct local government elections. Lady Mo, do you know there was a time in this country where local government elections were conducted first? Before states used to go to the opposition. Naturally, there were local governments in Lagos that the ruling party would never at the local government level. What has changed? We brought in this idea of SEC now with all across the country. So it is left for the president to understand that, look, it is one thing to say what he's saying about the reality of a fraud electoral process, only to be thinking about financial autonomy for effective governance at the local government level. It will never happen.
But I mean, we do not drag this too long. I don't know when we really want to do the right thing, which you've been hammering.
Where is the commitment? Where is the commitment to doing the right thing? Where is the political will? Are you telling me that these flawed electoral processes we see into the local government have produced people, and I say a semblance, it could be better. In fact, it would have been better. With a better, what you see, the reality is that, look, it's even in Lagos that there appears to be some level of functionality at the local government in Benue State. There's even no gates to the entrance of the local government. What is the gate, you know? It's as bad as that. They can't even erect a gate.
And people were elected to man. It's supposed to.
I say elected. You are going back to elected. We know now.
Side forward.
So, and that's what you have across the country. So, what is
side
the of governors? People chosen by governors. Some of them are just there. They don't even know why they are there.
Well, we have this very issue across dailies this morning, because I'm very sure that it's a conversation that can be in the effective delivery of democracy at all levels, especially at the grassroots level, which is the local government level. But we have call and tax reforms. That's Tʀᴇ during an interview. And he described it as, described the controversy as misinformation, which is designed to create fear and stall implementation of reforms, which is scheduled to begin next year in past, cannot be authoritatively established because the certified harmonized versions transmitted by the National Assembly to the President have not been made public. And he also stressed that...
So sorry to cut in.
Misinformation.
So he's even contradicting himself. You see that even that part of his statement comes to the conclusion that the allegation is misinformation. What he should have mentioned when he himself knows that there's no clarity to what... That's what I'm saying.
He said
was
that
actually congratulating himself. Yeah, I'm with you.
He said that and also the mistakes were escalated and corrected before the final gazette was issued.
He's just confusing himself. He will not dare confuse experts. You know, a lot of people are, again, I think on TV here was, and I'm happy that Fᴜဃᴜ was able to quickly pick defending all of the alterations that seem to give more executive powers, and then cancel out oversight from the court and the national are going to make a lot of money. People are going to run to them for guidance and professional advice. But we are saying that the right thing should be done, as much as we have said that we should have reforms in our tax process. Enough completely. We are going into autocracy if we are not careful. Where they are just that, no, people like Mr. Lɪධᴇ should not insult our sensibility and intelligence to do that job. We'll say it was harmonized and passed by the National Assembly, transmitted to the President. Is there a difference? And confirming what Honorable Dasuki had alleged about these alterations. So if Oyedele also is my fellow of Mwapi, he might have all the degrees in the world in financial matters, but when it comes to commonsensical issues like no, that's where we stand on this matter.
Right.
There have been enough checks. People have put, and that is why you see that Uriwa and some civil society organizations have not even written to the President. That bill that was transmitted to you, that you signed into law, can we have a copy of it? Publish it for the public to see.
Right,
so
right. Let us know what it is. Be
not
transparent.
Not everyone.
No, I'm talking about...
to affect the lives of everybody. Somebody sits down somewhere and say they hate the President. How myopic, how sensible, how senseless can somebody be to just wake up and say they hate the President? Where is that kind of thinking coming from? If you are not intellectually sound enough to understand these kinds of engagement, stay away from public conversations that are some of these things get people riled up.
Well, side forward, I think the federal government, it should be even a good time for them to defend this issue, because, the essence and the aim and purpose of this tax reform, according to the federal government, is to ease things. And almost some quarters they are saying we don't need a new tax law. I think it is time for the federal government to now be transparent enough to show.
Lady Mo, that's another argument. What I agree that again, We need a more reformed, a more refined tax system. In fact, Mr. Udemo, is that not his argument?
Yeah, poor-centered.
That this tax law is poor-centered. Is to put this tax law.
Right.
Only the more. We need to tell Mr. Udemo, when it is too good to be true, please check and recheck it again. You know, that was the same thing they told us about subsidy removal. That, it is only the rich that is benefiting from subsidy. They have 4 or 5 cars. The poor is not really benefiting from subsidy. When we take away subsidy, how are the rich suffering now? Let anybody come and tell me that removal of subsidy has affected the rich. How are they taking subsidy? Has it reduced the number of cars of the rich people?
It got worse.
It is with the poor people that can no longer take public transport again that we have to trek because of rise in public transport costs. It is with the poor people that can no longer pay our rent. It is with the poor people that can no longer afford the basic things we used to afford before because the cost of living has escalated and the poor people don't still enjoying themselves. So where is that argument of, so poor? It sounds too good to be true. We have to check.
Right.
And recheck again to see what the benefits are going to be to the poor people.
Right, Fuad. We have so many forces, that we are battling. Join us on Facebook and YouTube at Mailer 98.3 FM. That's the handle. Side Fuad, the jury, that's Richard Mills, and 29 other career diplomats from ambassadorial and other senior American first priorities. And it was first reported by Politico, and the latest major shakeup of the diplomatic ranks under Trump's administration affected mostly from the vanguard. And also, speaking about the U.S., they are conducting surveillance flights over Nigeria after that flight tracking data and current and former and exclusive reports also see U.S. president had warned in November that he could intervene. Continues to allow the killing of Christians, that the USA will immediately stop all a gun ablazing to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing.
We're in the era of what is called in law, international rules of engagement. Whether that surveillance is being done by President Trump, the U.S. does what he wants to do. I'm not surprised as to what.
See, they are saying that, how will you.
Health attacks are being carried against drug pushers. They call it narco terrorism, peddling drugs into the U.S. Even though where people are being killed, I think they killed the people in the boats on the allegations that they are drug peddlers. No country in the world is immune to such actions. I will never be surprised if that happens.
Well, that's also in the belly of the dailies this morning. Also, we have from the Guardian newspaper, last of kidnapped Nigerian pupils handed over, according to the government. That's some month after one of the countries.
We just hope that things like this don't happen again. So,
prize and Dangote's initiative hotline for Nigerians to now raise of 739 naira per litre. Right, is to underscore.
The phone number is there.
Yes, it is.
So people, if you are interested,
you can call the hotline.
The phone number now.
Yes, you can call the hotline 08008000123. Calls can, please, let's not do that.
Because people now will think of minutes. I was just messing up with 739. The numbers are there for you to call.
I want to believe in our subsequently is out there. You can always
739. That's from MRS filling station.
MRS filling station. Well, the present administration, saying that management, and they also described the budget as quicksand.
It's in the last 5 paragraphs of that report, assessment of the budget. We are still going to do a comprehensive review of the budget when what the ADC has put out as the assessment of the budget.
Where oil productions are weakening and global prices are dipping as tensions in Europe show signs of adopting a conservative posture to shield now that the artificial bounce provided by the devaluation of most terrifying is the sheer scale of the deficit and what it reveals. There would be no Nigeria anymore. A budget that plans to generate 34 trillion naira functional fiscal system would a deficit to revenue ratio of December 19 is the deficit of 23.85 trillion with a transparent capital plan in place. This expenditures. It is one thing to squander current revenues on the excesses of the state, but it is unpardonable to enter the workforce. The fundamentals of this 2026 budget documents betray a total abandonment of revenue, of devaluation and surging borrowing. Nigerians' debt servicing costs have a doctrine on earth that justifies a path of high deficits paired with propaganda. The federal government of Nigeria is in the people rather than just the creditors?
Nothing to add. For people who are interested, who may want to see that he has added that, look, there's need for an alternative.
Right.
I would only on it. The only thing is that the ABC too have not really been able to provide an alternative to the things they are criticizing. You understand?
See the footprint of what you did.
Even though we cannot fault their argument and criticism of what the government policies have been so far, I also align myself to a great extent.
Straightforward. Just quickly, the Punch also captured that the Ogun State High Court sitting in Ijebu-Ode yesterday had refused to grant the popular Fuji musician Wasiu Ayinde earlier an installation of the next Awujale of Ijebu land, saying that
He called me and said, on this क़waŋwan Awujale issue, on radio we've seen that you have not been talking about. Can you just talk about it? He saw as he was saying, he's not taking those messages, even though he was one that is that not the sense?